Hello everyone, my name is Sheila Hill. I've entitled this video, Addiction, Self-Sabotage, and Stopping the Loop. I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about what has been showing up in my practice lately. I'll just sort of use maybe one example just to drive home the teaching really clear. But any time that we find ourselves, and when I say addiction, it can be anything from, I tend to self-sabotage myself a lot, or, I've got a sweet tooth. I really like to eat sweets, although I know that it doesn't sit well in my body, to actual addiction to drugs, alcohol, substances. Addictions is any time any kind of a behavior or thought is no longer in balance. If you're in divine flow and in balance and you enjoy the odd glass of wine, the odd cigarette, the odd piece of cake, the odd exercise, physical intimacy, whatever it is, when it's in flow, there's never a problem with it. When it gets out of balance is where we tend to then be using that behavior in order to feed some other type of thought or program that we have running in our mind, or an energy that we are holding in our system. So when I use the word addiction, I'm using it from the very broad standpoint. So what has come up for me in the last number of sessions, sort of back to back in my private practice, are programs and ideas and ideals around what is eating healthy, what is feeling good inside your body, what divine truth and divine flow looks like and feels like, and how to find that balance. So you'll notice that I was very careful with my words. I didn't use the word don't eat, diet, exercise, any of those types of words, because those words in themselves, when we use them against ourselves, they cast spells. Words are energy, beliefs and thoughts are energy. And our most potent currency within our physical body is our own thoughts and beliefs about whatever. So being very mindful about our language around whatever behavior it is, or thought loop, or whatever it is that you have going on that you would like to achieve more balance with, is not the release of or the restriction of something in favor of another. It is about finding balance and flow that is appropriate for you, for your constitution, your energy, your body, your divine expression. So that helps to kind of take the language piece out of it. The next piece that I wanted to talk about is when the energies begin to shift you. So for example, someone who may have decided that the way that they were eating was no longer in balance or flow with how they want to feel in their body. So they've changed it. And they're trying some new recipes and maybe eating healthier foods more often, whatever that might look like for them. That is you backfilling your energy field with more light. It's higher intention, perhaps the foods are higher vibrational, the behavior, you're really creating some momentum around, look at me, I'm finally doing this, I'm feeling really great, I'm feeling better in my body, my moods have shifted. Whatever it may have, whatever the manifestation of this change could be for you is starting to really show itself. And then there is the day that you fall down and you eat a whole bag of chips or half a cake or whatever that might look like. Again, just using that as an example. And where the precipice of the growth happens is in that moment. In that moment, when you supposedly fall down, you then, if you turn that into self-judgment and another version of self-talk that says, see, I can't actually do this. Every time I try, I mess it up. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what my problem is. When you turn it into that, you create a new program, a new karmic loop within your energy field, within your body, and within your Akash that you now have to heal and release and overcome. This is how the karmic loops are created. So, some higher divine guidance and a whole new perspective for you to be able to look at as we move into undoubtedly January 1st, where everybody decides they're going to do something different, take this advice with you into that space. When we change our behavior, we are bringing more light in because we are doing it always from a more expanded, wiser, more enlightened version of ourselves. That's who we are in every now moment. So when we change our thoughts, we change our behaviors, we change our ways of being, whatever that might look like, exercise, drinking, food, people, whatever it is, when we change it, we are ushering in and calling in more light. We are, from a timeline perspective, kind of doing a bit of a shift where we're in one timeline and now we're shifting into another timeline that is normally higher vibrational, and we are receiving more light. So then we start doing the activities that are more reflective of that. Perhaps we are exercising more, moving our body, that feels more in alignment with what feels good in our body. Eating better foods, higher quality foods, whatever that looks like, less food, more food, whatever that is. Those are actual indications of our more higher vibrational way of being, and they represent more light. As that light comes in, we are actually backfilling our field with more and more light. And what that does is it pushes that density, that program, the original source of whatever the problem is, to the surface. And sometimes it comes to the surface with a vengeance, which means the self-sabotage behavior that gets exhibited as that energy is trying to leave can come on very strongly. It can be a weekend bender, it can be whatever, a whole bag of chips, it can be half a cake, whatever that is. It's going to come up with a vengeance so that it can be released with love and gratitude. What we don't do in our humanness is look at it from that perspective, and that's the advice that I'm offering in this video today, is that when that happens, and it probably is going to, try and observe yourself rather than judge yourself. Try to move into the thought loop where you say to yourself, wow, I must have really filled myself up with light and a lot of good behaviors for this non-desired behavior or thought or belief to come up with such a vengeance. I am going to allow it to play out in my timeline in this now moment. For today, I'm going to honor it and allow it to leave with grace and ease, and know that tomorrow is a new day and that I'll go back to keep filling myself in with more light. This is what prevents the falling off the wagon, the proverbial falling off the wagon. When we are able to observe ourselves and really observe it from a place of growth and expansion and say, wow, I must have really done some really great light work with myself in order for this distortion to come up so strongly. And now that it's here, I'm going to look at it, I'm going to let it have one last kick at the can, and then I'm going to know with all of my being that this was not some kind of failure, that this is not a showing or a manifestation of how less than I am. What it is it's actually the energy asking to be released and loved and let go with the gratitude for what it has shown me, for what it has represented for all of the past versions of me that I no longer am. So this is an important shift. Now, I like to use the analogy of like contractions. Whether you've had a child yourself or not, I'm sure you understand how contractions work. You have so many of them. You don't know when the first one starts, how many more there's going to be before the new birth comes out. But from the same perspective, when you decide to behave in a different way, to change how you're showing up, to bring yourself more into alignment with what feels good in your mind, in your heart, and in your body, you are backfilling it with light. And that light is going to create a contraction. The contraction could be small, or it could come on really, really strongly. And what it is the energy leaving and asking for your love and release, not your judgment and thought loops that say that you are somehow less than. Until the next time or maybe not next time that the contraction moves up again. We have no way of really knowing how deeply or how many cells are encoded with the distorted program when we go into our initial stages of trying to shift through them. So you have your fall off the wagon moment, or so you would call it from a third dimensional perspective. Look at it from the place of, it's just a contraction. I've backfilled myself with so much light and positivity and aligned behaviors and thoughts that this was bound to happen. And when it does, I'm going to love it and release it and allow myself to be in divine flow and acceptance that if another contraction comes along, I will treat it the same way until this behavior, this density, and this belief is gone completely. And you can use that thought process to move yourself through pretty much anything. If it's relationship related, if it's an internal thought loop, if it's a behavior you're doing that you would really like to shift out of, know that those moments are going to happen, but they happen as a manifestation of your work you've done. It is a prize, not a punishment. It's, wow, look at all the work I've done that this came up so strongly for me, and look at now I get to observe it leaving. I get to observe it leaving me. I offer this to you with the utmost love and the alignment for ease and grace in whatever it is that you decide that you want to shift and transform next in your personal journey. I hope that this helps. Please leave your comments and questions in the comments below, and I will see you all very soon. Bye for now.